So if I were to boil things down to absolute brass tacks, there are really two types of people in the world. There are people that create things, and there are people that destroy things. Bear with me. I'm gonna work this out. Creators are people who they have a sense of purpose in life. It doesn't really matter what that purpose is, but they want to build something. They want to give something to the world. Now that thing they want to give to the world could be deeply selfish, right? It could be, I want to build this massive business so I have all this money and I can spend all my time sitting by the pool, sipping martinis or margaritas or whatever their drink of choice is. But at least they're building something. They have some sort of purpose and direction in their life. Destroyers don't have that purpose. They don't have something that they're giving to the world. They don't have something that they're creating, that they're focusing their energy on. And when that happens, what do they end up doing? They end up targeting the creators and trying to destroy the things they're creating. And what they're actually doing, it's a reflection of how they feel about themselves. It's a reflection of the fact, and we're going to bear this out with Chris Cuomo, is a reflection of the fact that they don't feel good enough to create things. They need, because they have low self-esteem, they don't feel like they're very good at their job, maybe they have a massive case of imposter syndrome, and because of those reasons, they're like, I'm not good enough to create the things I want, or maybe I don't deserve the things I want. Maybe they have a very low deservability. And when that happens, they have two choices, right? They could either focus their energy productively and become a creator and put themselves out there and take that risk, or what they usually end up doing is they target the things that the creators are building and they try to destroy them. Now, creators, because they have that sense of purpose, they tend to live much happier experiences than our destroyers. Because think about it. If you have a life where you are trying to build something, you're trying to give something to the world, you're putting your energy into something productive, you're creating something where it didn't exist before, that's an incredibly fulfilling thing. You have a sense of accomplishment when you build things. Think about like a good day's work. It doesn't really matter what the work is, but when you have like a good day's work and you meet a goal and you hit a milestone, man, you go home feeling really good at night. Destroyers don't have that. All destroyers have is the satisfaction of pulling down the work of creators. That is not something that's going to fulfill them. In fact, it does exactly the opposite. It simply continues to reinforce every single day why they are not good enough. So what does that have to do with Chris Cuomo? What does that have to do with Chris Cuomo? Well, Chris Cuomo came out about a month ago and he basically said, I hate my job. I hate my job. And we're going to talk about the whole rant that he did because I absolutely believe that Chris Cuomo hates his job. And we're going to talk about why and what you can do as an individual to not wind up in the same damn position as Chris Cuomo. But before we do that, I have got a quick order of business. Listen, folks, if you like what I'm doing, I'm trying to grow the channel, you can subscribe, you can give this video a thumbs up, you can turn on notifications. Another thing you can do to support my work is to become a member on Subscribestar. Now, Subscribestar comes with a lot of different perks to it. One of those perks is that you get a shout out in one of my videos when you become a member at any single level. So today I have 2 shout outs to give. Thank you to Ulysses, I really appreciate it, and thank you to Earl. I'm very grateful for your support, and it helps me to free up my time so I can create more of this stuff for you guys, and I'm very, very, very appreciative of it. All right, let's get back to Chris Cuomo hating his job, shall we? The good, sexy stuff. So it's about a month ago. I'm sure a lot of you guys that are watching this probably heard about it, but let's just look at a review. Chris Cuomo essentially went on his radio show and he said, I don't like what I do professionally. I don't think it's worth my time. That matters to me more than making millions of dollars a year because I've saved my money. I don't need it anymore. And I don't know about that. Trafficking in things that I think are ridiculous, like talking to Democrats about things that I don't really believe they mean and talking to Republicans about them parroting things they feel they have to say, Cuomo concluded, I'm basically being perceived as successful in a system I don't value. I'm seen as being good at things on TV and advocating for different positions, and I don't know if I value those things, certainly not as much as I value being able to live my life on my own terms. And that could have been that really could have been a revelatory moment for Chris Cuomo if he had followed that instinct. Because I don't believe that was planned. I believe that was like an off-the-cuff admission, like, oh my God, I hate what I do every single day. I believe that was like off the cuff, and because of that, I absolutely believe that he meant it. Now, what happened after that is that Chris Cuomo got pulled into someone's office. He was given a stern talking to, and he retracted that statement like the very next day. He said, "I didn't mean it that way," said the TV host. It wasn't about CNN. It wasn't about me wanting to leave my job. He said it as his critics shocked back. "Yeah, but you said it." "Well, but how did you mean it?" He said people should ask him. So let's find out how he meant it. Cuomo says he was addressing my frustrations about journalism and being worthy enough. Oh, what did I say? Destroyers what did I say is going on with destroyers? Is it that they don't feel worthy of doing what they wanted to do? If they don't feel like they feel imposter syndrome, they don't feel like they're good enough to contribute to the world? Chris Cuomo is actually saying that. My frustrations about journalism, about being worthy enough to be part of this noble, lofty profession, even though he knows it's all BS. He knows it's absolute bullshit. He said he will continue to follow a story anywhere because of my commitment to the team. BS. And I am so proud of my team, he said of his colleagues at the network. I'm happy to be one of their teammates, and you don't hear that from a lot of anchors. I wonder how his colleagues feel. I'd be really interested to catch one of Chris Cuomo's colleagues in like an honest moment. Maybe at the bar after, when bars actually open again. Maybe at the bar when they've had a few. That would be an interesting conversation. I can't believe how lucky I am to be working with people like this. That doesn't mean there aren't frustrations in business. But I'm so sorry I got us distracted to give them an opening to play the bullshit angle he told listeners of critics. Not only am I not looking to quit my job, he only wants to work harder and better. Yeah, that's all BS, man. That's all BS. But in this admission, he gave us some interesting information. He doesn't feel good enough. He doesn't feel worthy, and there are frustrations in the business. You know why there are frustrations? Because CNN is a place right now that is littered with destroyers. The only thing that they are trying to do is destroy, destroy, destroy. That's what they do all day long. All of their stories have the angles of being like a path of destruction. They want to pull down Trump at every moment of every day. They want to pull down the people that support Trump. That's all that they do. Show me a story where CNN has actually taken a positive, forward-looking, purposeful stance on something. Man, I would love to see it because I haven't seen that in a very long time. Go and look at their stories. Every single one is designed, or at least has sections, where they are actively trying to destroy things. That is not a fulfilling way to live. It is absolutely not. If you cannot be happy with what you have in the present moment, right now, if you exist in this place where you think that something good is going to come, if only you do this, if only we can get Donald Trump out of the White House, then everything's going to be rainbows and unicorns and roses and everything is going to be good again. That's essentially what CNN is doing, is like they're looking forward past that day when Donald Trump is no longer president. They're saying then we can be happy. There's a problem with that. If you are in a constant state of wanting for something that you don't have right now, you will never, ever, ever get to a state where you can just be happy with what you have and be happy with the effort you put in and be happy with the work that you're doing. That's part of the problem with destroyers, is they think, oh, I'll just be happy when I do this next thing. I'll just be happy when this happens. I'll just be happy when that happens. That is not where happiness comes from. If you want to be happy in your job, you have to find a way to be a builder, to be a creator, to be contributing, to have a purpose. That is what you need. And that purpose has to be right now, not next week, not next year, not after you get the promotion, not after you get the raise, not after you get the fancy title, not after you get the fancy job, not after you get the new car, not after you get the new house, not after the coronavirus is over. That's not what we're looking for. You have to find it right now in whatever you are doing. And whatever you're doing, whatever your job is, or if you're one of the people that don't have a job right now, well, you have to find your purpose somewhere else, or put your energy into finding that job that's going to give you that fulfillment fulfilling experience every single day. Listen, did you know that about 30% of the students at Harvard are clinically depressed? 30%. And actually, I've seen numbers where it's higher. I've seen numbers as high as 50% of the students at Harvard are clinically depressed. And this is not new data. This is not due to the coronavirus and they can't attend classes on campus and all this crap. No. This was before that. This was before. 30% at least of the students at the best university in the world, where they have everything that they could possibly want in one of the greatest cities in the world, which is Boston, which is my favorite city, they are clinically depressed. Why? Why are these students at literally the best college in the world, where they want for nothing? Why are they clinically depressed? Why do they have anxiety? Well, think about it this way. So all of the students, well, pretty much, probably not David Hogue, but all of the students, mostly at Harvard, were like the top 1% of their class, right? They were the best of the best. They were on the top of the mountain. Then all of a sudden they get to Harvard and they're among a sea of students that were best in the class. And they say, oh, if only I can get to the top of this class, if I can graduate at the top of this class, then I'm going to feel happy and then I'm going to feel fulfilled, because that's what their life has been about. Up until this point, it was about doing the right things in high school to get into the best college in the world. That's what their life was about, right? And so they get there and they're still in that mindset. And they think, oh man, if only I get to be the top of the class and all this stuff. But guess what? Only 1% of the students at Harvard are going to be in the top 1% at Harvard. The rest of them are going to consider it a failure. But then it's like they graduate from Harvard. Oh, then if I just get that big job at that big fancy consulting firm and I get the fancy title, then I'm going to be happy. And then once they get that, it's like, oh, then if I just get married and I get the house and the car and the perfect 2.5 kids and the white picket fence and all this crap, then I'm going to be happy. What's happening is these people are living in a constant state of wanting. They live in a state of wanting. That's what Chris Cuomo was doing too. He's living in a state of wanting to have a purposeful experience. And he's not. It's not working. And they wonder why. Because when you exist in a state of wanting, then you are not just being. And that's the key to happiness, folks. Whether you're at work, outside of work, is to exist in a state of happiness no matter what is going on, no matter what's happening in your life right now. Not to be living in a state of wanting for what could be. Destroyers are in this constant state of wanting, because they're so focused on pulling down the creations of other people that they don't stop to think, oh, I could be doing that too. All their energy is going in to pulling down what other people are building. Now, I don't care if you like Donald Trump. I really, really don't. I don't care if you like him or you hate him. But if you're spending all of your energy, just like Chris Cuomo is, in trying to destroy what he's working on every single day, you can't possibly find internal fulfillment in yourself. A much better strategy would be to say, you know what? Donald Trump's going to do his thing. I don't really like him. I can't wait for a day when he's out of office. But I'm going to focus my energy productively on things that I can create right now. Listen, I just started this book club, and I'm really excited about it. And we're going to be reading a book called Conversations with God. And you can find out more about this. I actually have a video on this channel that I posted yesterday about this. You can also find more about it in my locals community, which is kb.locals.com. We're actually going to be doing the book club in the locals community. But there is actually a section in Conversations with God that talks about this. And I want to share it with you. Just a little section, just humor me. Don't worry, this is not a religious book. If you are not a religious person, that's okay. I'm not a Christian. I think this book is very, very inspirational, and people of all different beliefs, or even, yes, my atheist friends, I don't care if you don't believe in God, folks, I don't care. Like, this is about perspective. So let's take a look at what Conversations with God said. I'm going to get on my Kindle version, and we're going to start down here at the bottom. And this is essentially, this book is, it's written as a literal conversation with God. So any of the text that you see in the blue, this is God speaking, and any of the text that you see in the black, that's the author speaking. So we're going to start here. I cannot have what I want, the author says, and God says no. And the author says, you said this before very early in our dialogue. Still, I don't understand. I thought you've been telling me I could have whatever I want. As you think, as you believe, so shall it be done unto you, and all that. And God says, those two statements are not inconsistent with each other. And the author says they're not. Well, they feel inconsistent to me. God says that is because you lack understanding. The author says, well, I admit that's why I'm talking with you. And then God says, and this is going to be the important piece, I will then explain. You cannot have anything you want. The very act of wanting pushes it away from you, as I said earlier in chapter 1. So let's just think about that for a second. The very act of wanting pushes it away from you. Why might that be? Why might that be? Chris Cuomo wants a job that's fulfilling. Chris Cuomo is waiting for that fulfilling opportunity to come around. He's messing around with CNN in the meantime because he's in this state of wanting. He wants that fulfilling opportunity. Students at Harvard, 30% of them are depressed because they're waiting for that opportunity. They're waiting for something to come. That's not going to work. That's not how the job gets done. So we're going to fast forward here a little bit. And now they're talking about worldly success, essentially. And the author says, then why don't I have more success? And God says, I said your words are its command. Now your words were, I want success. And the universe says, okay, you do. Because what we experience is a reflection of the dialogue that we're having with ourselves constantly. The author still doesn't understand. He says, I'm not sure, I'm not sure I follow. And God says, think of it this way. The word I is the key that starts the engine of creation. The words I am are extremely powerful. They are statements to the universe, commands. Now, whatever follows the word I, which calls forth the great I am, tends to manifest in physical reality. Therefore, I want success produces you wanting success. Does that make sense to you? Think about that for a second. If you say, I want success, I want success, I want money, I want fame, I want fortune, I want any of these things, you are going to be in a constant state of wanting them. And that's by your own doing, because the inner dialogue in your head is saying, I want these things. What is the inherent underlying thought behind that? I want these things. I don't have them because I'm not worthy. Because would you be in a state of wanting if you already felt completely worthy, and if you had already taken the effort to go after them in the real world? It can produce no other things because thoughts and words are creative. Actions are too. If you act in a way which says you want success and money, then your thoughts, words, and actions are in accord, and you are sure to have the experience of this wantingness. That's what's going on, folks. That's what's going on. If you don't want to hate your job or hate your life like Chris Cuomo does, stop living in a state of wanting. Stop living in a state where you don't feel worthy of what you're trying to do. Stop living in that state. Just act as though you're worthy. Act as though you have everything you need right now. And I know this is a weird time, and I believe me, this is as weird a time as any, but one of the great things about this time is it's given us a little rest, and it's given us a little break, and it's given us an opportunity to reevaluate what we're doing with our lives. So here's what I'm going to recommend. You need to create a vision. If you want to be happy at work, in life, whatever, create a vision. Do it right now. Take out a piece of paper and write down your perfect, ideal vision of if you could do anything with your life, if you could do anything with your time, what would you be doing? What is the ideal? What are you trying to achieve? You have to have that vision first, because if you don't have that vision, if you don't have a roadmap to follow, you're going to be in a constant state of wanting because you don't have a clear vision. And then once you have that clear vision established, then you have to start acting like you already have it. How would you act if you already had everything that was in your vision. And I guarantee you that vision is going to involve creating something. Think about, what am I creating? Why am I doing this? How do I want to feel when I create this thing? What is my sense of purpose? Make sure you write it all down, man. Get it as clear as you can in your head. But you cannot exist in a state of wanting, in a state of constantly striving after something and be happy. So that's my advice. And listen, if you liked this little snippet with Conversations with God, we are going to be reading it in book club. We're going to do a live book club for members of my locals community. You can join at kb.locals.com. And if you use the promo code WELCOME, you get a free month, because it's a little subscription model. It's only $5 a month, so it's doable for everyone. But I'm doing that to keep the trolls out of the community. It's going to require much less moderation. And I just want it to be like a nice, pleasant place to be, man. But we're going to do lots of stuff together. We're going to do book club. We're going to do debate club. We're going to have daily prompts for different discussions and debates. If you want to participate in book club, use the promo code WELCOME, and you're going to get a free month, which is plenty of time to participate in book club, which is going to be on June 14th, 2020, which is a Sunday. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to do a live video. There's also, if you don't want to be on video, that's cool. There's going to be a live chat going on in the community so you can interact with people that way. I really hope that I see a lot of you in my locals community, and I'm really looking forward to reading this book. It's a fantastic book. Don't let the spiritual nature of it scare you away. It's got so much good insight in it. It's really going to, no matter where you are in life, it's going to inspire you. It's going to give you that direction. And it might even give you a little kick in the pants to go do the thing that you've always wanted to do.